While everybody else is trying to grind their way to the echelons of power because that's all they think that the world is based off of, and they're grinding their way to the top, we're moving in spirit and truth, and we are moving with Christ, and we are walking on the narrow path, and that is pissing off a lot of these monitoring spirits because, make no mistake about it, these monitoring spirits, some of them are just pure evil, and other ones are just kind of annoying. And last night I had a dream where the devil made me an offer, and he was trying to convince me to go back into watching Korn and to playing with myself, and in return what I would get is all the wealth I would ever need. And so I declined, and in the dream I woke up afterward and it felt as if the devil was choking me. I really felt as if there was an essence around my throat. It was very uncomfortable, and I was quick to rebuke that as soon as I woke up. But this is kind of what happens along the time where you're not on demon time, they're on demon time, and the monitoring spirits are going to try to be putting things in your path in which are going to lead you to temptation and to satisfying that temptation and satiating that, all for worldly pleasures. And the fact that you're denying those worldly pleasures and you're able to set off temptation toward the back burner, it's going to piss off a lot of these different kinds of monitoring spirits. And even if they don't like you, they're going to be watching you. That's what I don't understand. If I don't like something, for example, I don't care for football. I just don't really care about it. So I don't watch it. I don't really put my mind on who's going to win the Super Bowl this year. I don't care at all. But it's always a part of the culture here in the United States about who's going to watch the Super Bowl. And when I say football, I mean American football, not soccer, like the rest of the world calls football. But anyway, that's a bit beside the point. But I mean, even soccer, I don't really care much. I know who Cristiano Ronaldo is. Does that count? I mean, that's pretty much all I know, though, of the soccer world. And so I just don't pay attention to things that I don't really care about. I just don't see a reason to. But here's the difference between you and them, the monitoring spirits. They're going to watch you even if they don't like you. You might be getting these scowls in public. You might be having men, if you're a man out there, if you're a handsome man that is on his purpose, you might get these men that are mate guarding and vice versa for women. The women will be mate guarding. It's just a sign of insecurity on their part. And I don't like to talk about that kind of stuff as far as the insecurities of other people. I want to focus more on the people that actually want to help their own selves and heal their own insecurities. Even being able to say that you're not insecure about something can be a revelation of sorts. And it takes healing, it takes an inner knowing, and it takes the capacity for your inner being to walk in a way that correlates with the will of the Most High. And it doesn't just correlate because at that point you are being God-like, sure, but to truly be walking with God, you're walking in His will, you're being a vessel for Him. And the more you're going to be a vessel for Him, the more that these monitoring spirits are going to come after you. I've seen it time and time again. And some of these monitoring spirits are really stalkerish, and they're really creepy. Some of these men out here will watch you and, try to get questions or answers from certain questions about you. They'll try to infiltrate your personal life in a way that makes it seem as though they care, when in reality they're trying to obtain information to use against you down the line, or to understand more about their competition because they see you as a competition. And they want to inherit your successes and be the successor of your successes while not giving you the credit for everything that you've done. And that's what a lot of these people are like. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely unfathomable the lengths that people will go to try to make you out to seem like the person that you're not. And it's incredible to see the lengths that people will go to really spark a cataclysmic series of unfortunate events in your life just to watch you suffer. And this is another thing you got to be careful with the monitoring spirits, because they don't even like you a lot of the time. They're just assigned by the devil to watch you and to annoy you or to irritate you, to try to get you off course so that you are not going to fulfill your destiny. You're not going to fulfill your purpose, because that's the last thing that these demons want. It's the last thing that these monitoring spirits want. And again, not all of the monitoring spirits that you'll encounter are necessarily evil, but they're not necessarily good either. And they're lukewarm spirits a lot of the times, where they are fascinated with you and they'll treat you like a celebrity, but at the same time, they, behind your back, will act like you're trash. And sometimes they'll do a switcheroo. They'll flip their Uno reverse card on you, and they'll start to act really crappy to you in person, but then to other people, they'll try to talk you up just to make themselves look good. That's how bizarre people are in this day and age, in this world. The amount of cold, calculating, unreasonable, and unhindering qualities that people possess nowadays, it truly is staggering. And it's not necessarily something that anybody wants to see in other people. And so there are going to be many times where people that are striving to be on the godly path, in the narrow way, in the narrow path, they're going to pretend like they don't see what's happening. They're going to pretend like they don't hear what's happening. Hear no evil, see no evil, right? That's their motto. That's a terrible freaking motto, man. That's a terrible motto. Because if you want to get anywhere in this world with actual wisdom and discernment, you've got to be willing to be open, but not receptive to evil. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, be open enough to recognize what's happening in front of you, but not receptive in the way where you let it enter your spirit. And there's a very fine line between that, because evil can play a sinister role and an insidious role in how you operate in your life. And the conducive situations that will arise and may arise from being open to evil may be more harrowing of an experience for you than you might expect. But that's what you have to go through with these monitoring spirits. You have to acknowledge the fact that this is actually happening, and that this is something that is a situation that you must deal with. And the best way to deal with monitoring spirits sometimes is to pretend like they're not there. Be aware of them, but don't necessarily respond or react to them. Treat them as if you don't even notice they're there. Be neutral about it, indifferent. Indifferent is the more appropriate word, I would say, in regard to how to deal with this kind of stuff. But monitoring spirits are something that every person that is on the godly path is going to encounter. And the reason being is because, well, obviously the devil doesn't want you to grow closer to God. Why would he? Remember, the devil, this is something that is talked about in the movie Nefarious, which has been a topic of discussion quite a bit within the Regal Change Academy as of late. And Nefarious, the movie, it talks about how Satan wants to destroy what God loves. That's exactly what Nefarious, the movie, is really all about. And how demons and these evil spirits try to do that and why they want to do that. It's not necessarily because they want you to be evil. It's just that they want to destroy what God's created and what God loves. They're really sinister. They're really, really pernicious evil spirits. And again, not all monitoring spirits are like this, but there are a lot that are. And this is something that you simply need to be mindful and aware of, and have the wherewithal spiritually, with the fortitude of mind, to confront these kinds of things when they happen. And to be indifferent around someone or something that is trying to intentionally make you uncomfortable, because these spirits will know, and the devil knows, because guess what? When you pray, not only does the Father in heaven hear you, but so does the devil. Okay, there are more than one person that's listening to your prayers when you pray. And that's something that I wish I knew when I started praying 3 years ago and I started to follow Christ legitimately, is that the devil will hear you just as much as God does. And so don't think for a second that the devil isn't going to try to send people your way to distract you or knock you off balance, or to get you off your obstacles, or to put obstacles in your way, or to get you off your square. These are going to be the kinds of things that you're going to have to encounter, and that's part of the adventure of life. This is part of the quest for seeking truth, is to acknowledge that this is simply going to be happening. And in fact, the more that it happens, the probability that you're doing something right is ever increasing. So it's not necessarily the case that we want to see this kind of evil or weird distractions or occurrences happening, but we also don't want to necessarily be in the devil's favor and getting all these worldly things without any trials, because that's definitely going to tell us that we're not doing something right. And so I found, as of the last year or two, is that I've experienced far more difficult spiritual trials than I ever thought I could experience. But at the same time, I know that everything that I did and experienced before this prepared me for what I needed to experience in this next algorithm of being, and this understanding of what kind of ideas do I need to incorporate and implement into my being to change my thought algorithms, so that I can better satisfy and please the Most High and glorify Him and His will. Because otherwise, it's going to be a very challenging mode of conduct to participate in the world with. If you're not having the right thought algorithms, if you're not participating in the world in the way God wants you to be, good luck out there, man. Good luck out there. Because you might get all the things that you could ever want in the world. But guess what you're not going to have? You're not going to have spiritual fulfillment. And you'll always be searching for something else to fulfill you. And there's nothing that can describe the spiritual fulfillment that you feel when you are truly walking in line with God's will. You may not have everything as far as materialistically, but you always feel like, and you know that you're taken care of. You just have this sense of knowing that everything will be okay no matter what. And you have absolute faith in the Most High. And that's really the way that you want to operate. And that's exactly the way that these monitoring spirits don't want you to be operating. They don't want you to have a sense of understanding who you are. They don't want you to be fulfilling your destiny. And they will be watching you to see and tracking you. Like, think about this. Your phone tracks you. Your laptop tracks you. We all know this. The banks track you with your purchasing and such. Your search history, Google tracks. We're getting tracked at every single point and endeavor that we make in this life at this point. And I'm not going to say it's futile to try to stop that. tracking, because it's definitely not. But if you're expecting to use something publicly for free and you're trying to get certain places, you like with public knowledge of where you're at and what you're doing and all that, while expecting privacy and expecting that people are not going to be tracking you, that's really foolish. Okay, that is just not reality at this point. We don't live in the 1400s anymore, where you could just go about and be about your business, and you could go out in the middle of the night. Like, when was Leonardo da Vinci born? Was he born in the 1400s? I think so. Must have been something like that. But Leonardo da Vinci, what did he do? Nobody even knew what he was doing, but he was digging out bodies in the middle of the night in the graveyard, bringing them back to his place, and then drawing out the body's anatomy. And it was a bit it was a bit sick. It was a bit sick for somebody to do that at that time. And nobody knew who was doing that. But it was him, and he was doing that, and he even wrote his notes backwards so nobody would understand what he was actually saying. He was very meticulous, and nobody can do that kind of thing. Even if you're a genius nowadays, I'm not saying to go dig up dead bodies or anything like that. I'm just saying you no matter what you do at this point, nearly at all, you're going to be tracked. And somebody could do something as crazy and weird as that in the 1400s, and nobody would ever know, because there wasn't any kind of particular tracking. It was much more of an animalistic state of mind. And right now, it's almost as if the consciousness collectively is being transferred into this digital realm. That's what I kind of see that's happening, is the whole consciousness collectively is being transferred digitally. And the people that are still seeing through the matrix are going to see through the matrix, and they're going to be the ones that are watched the most. And that's just going to have to be the reality. And we do what we can to minimize that with like VPN addresses, or getting certain kinds of phones, or just not even using the technology. I don't take my phone everywhere I go. And there will be people that message me or call me, and I might not respond for a couple hours if I'm out and about. And I come back, and there are sometimes people that are saying like, wow, how come you didn't answer? How come you didn't answer faster? And it's like, I don't like to have my phone on me all the time. I don't like to be around my phone all the time, because I like to think that I can still go do my own thing. I can still be a human being. I don't have to be plugged into the matrix all the time. Even though the matrix, it's weird because we have to use the matrix nowadays as a form of, how do I say this? It's not just, it's a socio-economic utility, I would say, at this point. And that kind of utility is very good, and it's very important to have, but it's also important to be able to know how to step away and know when to step away, because otherwise all of that knowledge, I've seen people go crazy trying to come up with the conspiracy theories and such. And don't get me wrong, I'm very interested in a lot of these different kinds of conspiracies and such, but I don't think it's healthy for you to always be consuming things and knowledge. You need to be creating. You need to be creative. You need to be taking something with that information that you ingest and digest it, and then create something with it. If you're talking about, materialistic knowledge and understanding, don't just like read something just to read it. I mean, you can do that if you want, and that's better than not reading at all, in my opinion, because reading is for the mind, is what working out is for the body. But it's almost as if people just don't even process what they're reading or writing or looking at on the computer, and it's just, how can you not process these things? It's really important to process these things. And the people that do know how to process, they know how to take a step back and they're thinking to themselves, okay, I need to process this. And sometimes you just need to talk to people in order to process certain things. And I've seen this time and time again in my one-on-one consultations as well as the Regal Change Academy. And with that being said, if you do want to join the Regal Change Academy, we have the links in the description box below for the free Discord as well as the paid community. And the free Discord has a few different kinds of free resources available as well as the godly community. The Regal Change Academy, the paid version, has a variety of different resources and tools. The people in there understand that your network is your net worth, and it's really important to have that kind of community where you're building your mind, body, and soul every single day, and you're always moving and progressing toward a goal of positivity for the soul and nourishment for the soul. The thing that we're going through right now, as far as the classes are concerned, is the Art of War class series. I'm super stoked about this. This is week 4 of 7 that we just completed today. And man, it's a beautiful thing to see the kind of growth and the kind of conversation and wisdom that comes about in these classes and really just proliferates through the class itself. Also, we are doing a virtual meditation retreat in just over a month from now. If you want to sign up for that, you can either join the Regal Change Academy to get a discount, or you can email me in the links in the description box below. You can email me for more information about that to save your spot. That's going to be February 8th of this year. So it's just a little over, I guess less than a month now, because it's the January 11th today, Saturday. And man, it's a pretty quiet Saturday night too. It's a bit snowy outside, so usually when the snow comes, everything kind of quiets down, you know. Everything's pretty chill. I enjoy that. I'm going to be doing some projects after this, and I look forward to being in the zone and just being able to be with myself in the silence and with God. We also in the Regal Change Academy have, as part of the membership, 2 weekly Bible study classes as well as a weekly congregation where we talk about a variety of different topics and subjects. So if you're interested in that, be sure to check it out. And I want to appreciate everybody moving from the YouTube platform over to X, Rumble, and Instagram. I appreciate your guys' extra support. And with all that being said, peace be with you all. Till next time.